Hey everyone, I'm Jennifer Whitaker. I'm an empowerment strategist, a trauma specialist, a peer recovery supporter, a profiler, an energy worker. Um, I do a lot of things and I could keep going because I do a lot of things. But really, what I want people to know about me is in all the work I do, I integrate all of the work into my sessions with clients. And the heart of my work is really straddling that line between science and academia and energy and woo woo. And the two really do blend together. And I'm here today to talk about a topic that I don't normally talk about because I'm not an astrologer, I'm not a Wiccan, I don't identify as a priestess or a sorceress, or even though I've studied shamanism, I'm not a shaman. So let's talk about the moon because I come from a heritage of the Old Farmer's Almanac. And the Old Farmer's Almanac, we really look at the phases of the moon and the seasons and the cycles of nature and how that interplays with our lives. So I'd like to demystify moon rituals, especially for people out there who feel like it's a weird topic because it's not. The moon and the sun are something that everybody has in common. I don't care where you're from on the planet. I guarantee if you do a little bit of digging into your heritage, it doesn't matter what your race, your religion, your creed, your ethnicity, your cultural heritage is, you're going to find somebody in your ancestral line or your lineage who lived like I grew up, paying attention to the cycles and seasons of nature and looking to the skies to help them make decisions. And so I'd like to demystify a little bit of that today. We can really learn a lot about ourselves by noticing how we ebb and flow with the seasons and cycles and patterns in nature. And once you start to pay attention to these things, you'll start to see ways that you can implement self-care practices that actually work for you rather than borrowing somebody else's recipe and somebody else's step-by-step process. Um, and noticing similar patterns in others, you'll let go of the need to change other people to fit into some paradigm because you'll start to realize that, wow, what they do doesn't work for me and vice versa. So I'll stop pushing my approach on them. So you'll get a greater appreciation for the differences that we have with other people rather than a frustration about those differences. And the beauty is that we are really at our best when we can notice our own patterns and self-correct. And it's not so much fun when somebody else reflects our patterns back to us, especially if they're patterns that we're not so proud of or patterns that reflect our own bad behaviors. So you don't have to be a Wiccan or a woo-woo person or a healer or of indigenous descent or anything to practice moon rituals. And if you see below, I've given you a step-by-step instruction to help you get started. And I strongly encourage people as you get started with your moon rituals, again, that's a recipe I wrote up. Try it. And then add your own flavor, add your own spice, deviate from my recipe and make it your own. Because if you don't change it and you don't make it your own, the likelihood of it really working for you for the long haul is probably minimal. So adapt that to fit your needs specifically. And the phases of the moon, we can look at them, especially the full moon and the new moon, very much like the yin and the yang symbol. So the full moon is light, it's masculine, it's giving, it's pushing forth, it's obvious, it's doing. While the new moon or the dark of the moon is dark, it's feminine, it's receiving, it's nurturing, it's subtle, it's being. And the full moon or the masculine is more of the mental, and the full moon in the dark is more of the emotional. And how our mental and emotional plays together is really, or not, is really what causes either inner peace or inner conflict within us. And so the moon can be a great beacon to shine a light on how our mental and emotional play well or not within us. Because when the masculine and feminine within us are out of balance, there's more emotional and mental turmoil that we experience within ourselves. So by bringing those aspects of ourselves into more harmony and balance, the turmoil will start to subside. Now, that doesn't mean we're not going to experience turmoil and chaos in the world around us, because life has this fantastic way of throwing wrenches at us. However, the turmoil and the chaos around us doesn't have to eke into our bones. And so if we have that healthy balance inside of us, that turmoil can stay outside of us. But when there's no balance in us, then the turmoil starts to get in. Now, the next lunar event is coming up on April 26th, and it's going to be our full moon. And it's a super moon this month. So let me take just a moment to let you know from a more scientific, legit aspect or perspective, what a super moon actually is. So the moon's orbit around the Earth is not a circle each month, it's an egg shape. And because of that egg shape of the moon's orbit, the distance between the moon and the Earth at each lunar event is constantly changing. So when the moon is at its fullest, at its shortest distance, and that shortest distance is called the perigee. So when the moon's at its fullest and it's at its perigee, we call it a supermoon because it's a full moon at the closest point to the Earth. And during a supermoon, the moon can appear to be up to 30% brighter and up to 15% larger than your average full moon. Now, April is the month whenever we have the pink moon. That's what we call April's full moon. And that's because the name comes from the fact that this particular lunar event aligns with the seasonal blooming of a pink moss that is indigenous to North America. And whenever that pink moss blooms, it's usually the time of that April full moon, and that's why we call it the pink moon. And all of our moons, every full moon has a special name because of something that's happening during the time of that lunar event. Now, people sometimes will use the pink moon in April as an opportunity to create their rituals, to work on their heart chakra, to work on love, to work on gratitude. It is a spring moon. So it's a great time if you're looking to work on rebirth or renewal in your life. And what each person's working on is going to vary from person to person. It's also a great time to shed light on things that are normally hidden in the darkness or just beyond sight. Because the super moons are so bright and so big, a lot of times it sheds more light. So it can show us things that we need to work on. It can show us our strengths and things that we need to enhance or things that we need to improve. So I challenge you to look at full moons as a commencement of sorts. And I think we've all been through a commencement, and a graduation is the completion of our education cycle. And it is a new beginning into either a job market or some sort of adult life or the next phase in life. Like, what does the completion of our education lead us into? So it's both. And I invite you all, I'm really excited about this part. I invite you all to Clubhouse if you're not already on Clubhouse, because Anna Pereira, the founder of the Wellness Universe, and I started just kind of a pop-up room for the new moon event earlier in April. And it was such a fantastic conversation that we decided we're going to keep going. And we got a lot of good feedback. And I invite all of you to Clubhouse on Sunday, April 25th at 7 p.m. You can look below, either follow the Feeling Good Club, follow Anna, or follow me, or do all three, and you will find the link to the room. Put it in your calendar, because I will give you a whole day after the conversation to come up with some ideas and ways to get started with your own full moon ritual if you're not already practicing, and if you would like that deeper, richer practice and connection with yourself. And please mark in your calendars that the full pink moon is April 26th, the day after our Clubhouse meeting at 10:32 p.m. Eastern Time. Feel free to look that up in your own time zone. And I'm getting that date and time right off of my old almanac calendar. And I hope to see you on Clubhouse on the 25th. And I hope you got some valuable information out of this. Enjoy your lunar event rituals. And I will see you in Clubhouse on the 25th. Have a great day.